Maggie, have you ever watched the live stream? But sometimes it's just like looking. It hasn't done it in a little while, but yeah, for a while it wasn't really good.
What are we quitting? What are we quitting at the SGA meeting? Yeah, hi, my mom. I'm the only one watching right now. Mom, if you're watching this, send me a text that says that you're watching.
This answer was, but there was. I was showing a lot of whatever. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I call to order the March 28th meeting of the Student Government Association. Please review your agenda. Kayla Evans. Here. Pete Levin. Levi Ekstrom. Caitlin Eaton. Nicholas Smith. Timothy Allen. Peter. Isabella Casea. Haley Kane. Hale Westcott. Maggie Roberts. Here. Constantino Christopoulos. Here. Christopher Lannon. Here. Eric Carney. Here. Ethan Haynes. Here. Lois Black. Alexandria Melia. Here. Daniel Lyons. Lucas Appel. Here. Scott Down. Here. Nick Paloma. Here. Sarah Harrington. Joseph Pinilla. Here. Angela Hayes. Justin Walls. Here. Jack Roy. Here. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Being none, the minutes are approved. Now, the bridge report, Aaron Lester. housing selection process. So please welcome up John. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'll go grab my flash drive. One second. So, very nice I've tried to talk about the housing section overview process. Want to talk a little bit about what the process looks like, some of the changes we're doing for this year. Any questions you may have about this, or anything about housing in general, I'd be happy to answer as well. So, our selection process started. Was going to be we're basically right in the middle of the agreements coming in. Just as a general overview for those who might not know my campus, we've gone through it before. It is an online process that we use through My Housing. In order to take part in it, students need to complete the housing agreement located in My Housing account. Any current student can go through and take part in that. It is for current students, separate than first the new student, new transfer process as well. Once you complete the housing agreement, you're going to be entered into our system, and then we use that in order to generate numbers and times. The way it works is once we go through the process and we start each section night, and I'll go over what those days look like. Each student is going to be issued a randomly generated time. These are random. We basically go off the current the class years who are going to be in that system that selection night, and they are done generally randomly in the system, and they're basically issued time. It's based off of the current class year, and that's basically what we get from a banner, which is from the office. It's not how many years we're on campus or not. It's going to be, are you senior by credits or junior by credits? So we go off of that. We don't have control over that. Basically, we use that as our baseline to have a set piece from there. This kind of shows how to get into there. You log in My Housing. I always go My Housing, and there's going to be applications on there as well. Once you complete the agreement, there's ways of adding roommates. Everyone who's looking to do the housing selection process will need to do the housing agreement. You can search for roommates as well. Just some updates and reminders for this coming selection process. As you saw in the email earlier in the month, one of our calls is going to be offline for next year. We are having Dickinson Hall come online. The halls for returning students to select are going to be the apartment complex, University Hall, New Hall, and Courtney Hall. Those are the 4 buildings right now that are going to be open. Dickinson and Davis Hall are currently going to be first-year students for next year. The standard room rates are what we talked about before in previous meetings, $4,275. We do have themed housings for next year. It's something we had a little bit this year. We were hoping to do more than next year. We have a ability this year to really make them as strong as we are. We are looking to kind of do a reset for next year. And we have an honors, JEDI, which is Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Performing and Fine Arts.
So those are 3 sections we're trying to build on. And those are all 3 are going to be in University Hall. And those sections are both for returning students, and we have spots set aside for first-year students as well. If you're anything out there, if one thing that's been in the past, you needed to submit a roommate group beforehand. You're able to change and adjust your roommate groups up until when you actually select. Prior years, you need to do a day to in advance. This is a dynamic process, so if you need to drop and add people during it, you're able to do that as you need and as you want. It's important to have that in mind. We always recommend when doing a selection, selection, that you have option A, B, C, and D. You want to go for your number 1 choice. There are times when things will fill up, depending on the you're looking for. Our 4-person suites and apartments are very popular. You may need to have a plan A and B if those are full as well. Going off of that, we're continuing with the partially filling suites and apartments. This is something we've done. We made a change because we know that not everyone's going to be able to fill a 6-person apartment suite, and that's been prohibitive. Some of those individuals out there who wanted to live in that side of the building, but either they only had 2 people, 3 people, or they might have been someone on their own looking to select into that suite or apartment. And if they didn't have a group to select in with, they're basically prohibited from living in that type of housing. So this gives us the flexibility in order to allow people to choose the housing they want. You need to fill the bedroom on the first selection night, so you can't just fill one bedroom with a double. But if you're a single, if you're a double group coming in, you're able to select and partially fill a suite. If you're going as a full group, say you're going as a full group of 6, there's a 6-person suite available, you're able to fill that entire suite. A very key important note, and if you talk to people who are going through the process, is always going to be confusing to some. You are able to make a match roommate group of anyone who's currently in housing right now. Anyone currently in housing right now. You could be a rising junior or a senior, and you want to live with someone who's currently a first-year student or a rising sophomore. That's perfectly fine. You can choose who you want to live with. The important thing to note is you're only able to select a room when everyone in your group is eligible to select. If you're going to be a senior next year and you're living with someone with a current first-year student, you're going to need to wait until the very last selection night in order to do that, in order to ensure that everyone is eligible to select. We do that because we want to balance the ability of having upper-class students getting the housing that they want at different suites and apartments, while preventing someone from maybe having that one senior friend pulling in all first-year going to be sophomores into suites and apartments, limiting the upper-class kind of more for housing for the individuals. There's different ways we can do this, but this seems to be the most equitable way of doing it. The key thing is when you go through for each one, the selection times you get earlier if you're a junior or senior. So on the last night, you're likely going to be one of the first people to select that night. And then anyone who wants housing for next year, you must select a room. That is a key thing. You may go through the end of the selection process and not see a room that you're thrilled about or a room that you're not happy about. We understand that. We have waiting lists. We have ways we can work on trying to get you into the housing you want. But the important thing is you do need to select a room. You need to put to do that choice. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, we don't know you need housing, and we won't assign you into housing. We do it this way to prevent locking in people who do the agreement and don't select. In years past, it was something where you did that, we were automatically assigning you in the summertime, and that was leading to people who didn't want to have housing at all, had to go through a process and more of a roundabout of getting billed, getting charged when they were actually going to be here in housing. So it's very important if you want to have housing, select no matter what, and then if you don't know where we are, we will work with you on getting that. So just a couple of key timelines. Some of these have passed recently, but this past Monday was the initial deadline for year-round housing, theme communities, and those with mutual accommodation requests. If there are still accommodation requests, you still contact Disability Services. They will work with you. Basically, the way it works now or later, we work on what's available. If you're approved for accommodation and you don't have that type of housing, we will continue working over the year in summertime, potentially into the fall, to get you what you need. So this we'll keep working out with you. We can only give you what we have. community here in housing, those are going to be going out this week. Those are selecting theme housing. We'll have an earlier selection time. If we have openings in those areas, we definitely will reach out saying there's more openings in these sections. If you want to move into this area, we have those options. So April 3rd, which is a Monday, that's the first day of the selection. And then everyone who's approved to be in honors, Jedi, or performing in fine arts will get, they'll have a window of time to go in, select the housing they want. If you're approved for this section and opt not to live in that section because you want to live with a roommate, you're not, you want to kind of have that option out there, that's perfectly fine. You'll still have the ability to go in that day to pick it. If you opt not to, you'll just go through the normal selection process. April 4th, which is Tuesday, is our first selection night for current seniors and rising current juniors. So basically, current seniors and rising juniors, you're able to go through this like housing. You'll be issued times. Based on that, not only the current seniors and rising juniors get housing. I will share with this too. If there are current seniors now who are graduating or going to be entering a graduate program, you kind of have two options right now. You can choose to live with current students who might be a junior or senior next year, or kind of graduates in the new hall and other areas. That's definitely your option. If you want to live in graduate housing, which will be in Walsh Hall next year, you can reach out to our office and email us saying that you're preferred to be in all graduate students, and we'll put you into the graduate housing, which is going to be in Walsh. So that is an option if you're going to be someone who is entering into a graduate program. It can't just be your fifth year as an undergrad. It will need to be an actual program, and we will work on that. It's for housing just for all graduate students as well. April 5th, which is Wednesday, second selection night. Current juniors, seniors, current seniors, juniors, and sophomores are all able to select housing. Those juniors and seniors who did not select on April 4th will still be in the process of the second April 5th date. Generally, your time's going to be earlier because your priority numbers are going to change. You're going to have be less people out there in the pool, or you could be earlier than that. Then April 10th, all current students, so juniors, seniors, sophomores, and current first year students are able to select housing on April 10th. On April 11th, so basically the 4th, 5th, and 10th, you need to fill bedrooms. You can do a partial suite, you can do a full suite, but you need to fully fill the bedroom. If, say, on April 11th, you are someone who is selecting on your own, you don't have anyone you match up with the system, but you want to go in and pick a space, you're then able to go through and partially fill a bedroom. This could be partially filling a bedroom in Courtney. This could be partially filling a double room, say, a New Hall University Hall. But you're able to go through and then at that point fill those spaces out there. So this is something where if you're looking to go for a single, you can't get a single, you're still able to select a space and select a room. Again, you do have the ability to do the waiting list at the end if you're looking for a single. But that's the point where you need to go through and actually pick. April 12th and 13th, once we do our worker selections, those are the days where we have open selection and room swap days. Still didn't pick anything on the 11th, that's fine. You can still go through on these 2 days to pick. This is also where you can do a room swap. Basically, it's a room change, but a room change without actually working with us. If you see an opening, if you see a space available, you can go through and pick it. If you were on the 3rd floor of Courtney and the 2nd floor of Courtney room opened up, that's where you want to live because you heard your friend over there, you can then change the rooms and pick it into the area. Same thing goes with suites and apartments. I will warn that if you're looking around, if you're searching, if you're trying to kind of click around, once you swap and once you change and you go into that new space, your previous space is not open. So if someone's looking out there, they could then go through and take that. I just mentioned that because if you're looking, if you're kind of experimenting, going around, make sure you don't commit and actually select that space unless you really want it. Because if someone picks it again, there's no way for us to go back and give you that space again because you now have to do it. So that's the 12th and 13th where you're able to go through on your own picking. After the 13th, starting on April 14th, selection is done. Waiting list opened up. Then at that point, you can't go through, you can't make changes on your own. That's where we basically take a couple of days at rest life, lists open up, and then we start those lists. I will say that the waiting list, we may get to it before you leave for the semester if things open up. If you do that beforehand, great. A lot of times these lists are going into June, July, or even August because we're seeing what was there. We're trying to see as people will transfer and withdraw, as openings come up. If we're seeing that we need more space or more areas in certain spots, we're going to open up. Either going to offer premium singles or offer different areas. We'll then work on that as well. So it is something to have patience for us. We do the best we can to get as many people off this waiting list into the housing that they prefer. We strive for 100%. We don't always get that, but it's something that if we had that, we'll definitely work with you. Just a couple of considerations out there. You guys mentioned before, you don't need to fill a apartment suite. That everyone's supposed to be filled. You need to select on your current class year when everyone is eligible. That's a very key thing. If you select and you're a group of 6 and only 3 are eligible, it will let you select if there's 3 people in that space, but the other 3 people are not going to be pulled in with you. So you're basically breaking up your roommate group if you're selecting on a different day. If you do that, we cannot hold a space, and there's no guarantee that you can be living together. Last year, this happened a lot where people would go in as a group of 2 or 3 or a group of 1, fill an apartment or halfway out there, and then say, okay, I want to save that space for my friends the next day, or even not Monday. If it's there, great, we have no problem with you doing that, but there's no guarantee. And if there's a sense of people are contacting those people who pick into those space, or there's intimidation or harassment, we reserve the right to remove everyone from that suite and apartment because that's not kind of happening out there. So it's very important that you need to select you need to basically determine what is the preferences out there. We'll all live together. You can definitely try for that. But if there's a chance that you might not get that, you might need to decide, we're going to take this apartment, we'll try to get you in, or try to do a room change later on. But we're kind of judging. And then you'll be issued a new time once the process ends. It's generally going to be by noon the next day for day 2. But you're going to get a new time. All the selection times are going to be starting after 5 p.m. You may get a selection time of 10, 11 o'clock at night. If you're with a group of people out there, you're using the earliest selection time. So you may be given a 8 p.m., 9 p.m. selection time, but someone in your group may have a 5 p.m. time. You would use that as your group. Once you select housing, you're committed for the full year, which is important to know. So if you're not sure if you want to be in housing next year, we definitely want you here on campus. A lot of benefits, but if you're not sure, don't pick housing. Because once you pick it, that's locking you in, and then you need to do a petition process, which involves a cancellation fee if you're approved. So that's a very important thing. And this also goes with if you're in a matched roommate group and someone in your group matches your pitch for your group, that also applies for that as well. So if you did an agreement group, if you're with a group, if you're not sure, make sure you have that conversation before you or someone selects for you. And then those who have not selected won't have any dining or housing charges for the fall bill if you choose not to select housing. If after the process ends, April 14th, you realize, I actually wanted housing, I'm going to do this, or later on in April or summertime, reach out to our office, give us a call or email housing. We'll work on getting you placed into housing, but unless you do that, we won't know if you actually want housing. This is just the rates we mentioned before: $4,275 for the special rates, $5,275 for the premium singles. And that is the general review of selection. So, any questions you have?
Are there any comments, questions, or concerns for John? I have a question.
Sure.
I was just curious, was the petition to release, was that free last year?
No. So there was, during COVID, there was a window of a semester or two where we were allowing people to basically break the housing agreement and leave during that period of time. We weren't doing a cancellation fee, we weren't charging, given the kind of pandemic, given kind of the uniqueness of that. So there was a period where if you had told us by a certain date, we released you free of charge, and we didn't have a cancellation fee. There were people who still were billed who were charged that cancellation fee, who did it late. So that was only a small window, I think around the 2020, 2021 period. But ever since then, that cancellation fee has been
Katie, you good?
Yeah, it should be on the actual day. We give as much time as possible because people can do agreements up until the day before out there. So we usually do it the day of. I'm going to say hopefully by noon. That's the goal out there. So you can plan for that one, but we want to give it to you with a heads up for that one. And you'll get new times each time you're able to select. So if you're a current junior or senior, then you're going to get that first day. And then you'll get a new time if you're selected each night. Okay. The way judging works for that too is there's about a 30 to 60 second period in between times out there, depending on how many people in the process. So there might be one or two people at the same time. It's not something where it's a frenzy of people going through. You have time to select and pick. If you look in the emails that sent out with the housing section guide, it gives you a little more of a detail of how to match it with roommates and that process too. So you have time, but you also want to make sure you're being accurate if you're doing a suite or apartment, where you're putting people into them. Because we use that for keys, we use that for first time as well.
Are there any further questions? I have one more, sorry. I was just curious. I know this isn't really a selection process, but I was just curious if has there been any conversation? I know that the bathrooms are allowed. I know a lot of those don't do that.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there's been any conversations about that. And then I also know for other schools I've heard for commuter students, there's a lot of access to the buildings for more safety issues. I was wondering if that conversation about that.
Yeah, so I can speak to the bathrooms. The bathroom conversation of the unlocked or locked, that really has been going on, I would say, really all year. Starting in the fall, we've been chatting about what it looks like. I've done some reach out to other campuses, other state schools to see what they've done, and we are unique in that sense. I think it's, for those who didn't know, Dixon and Davis years ago, you had to walk through a bathroom in order to get to the other side. And they're all single gender floors. So that I think is where some of this started from, and that just kind of any kind of policies, once it starts, it just kind of sticks. So there have been conversations. I will put a plug in for those who are currently living on campus right now. We're doing the Sky Factor survey, which is a satisfaction survey for housing, dining, living on campus, and asking a lot of variety of questions on there. I added a question on that this year of what the students' interests are for bathroom-wise. Is this mean, do we fully unlock them? Do we still do card access per building? Meaning, if you live in Courtney Hall, doesn't matter the gender, do you access all bathrooms? Do we unlock them? So there's a variety of questions on there. So we're looking to that. We're looking to see what the interest out there. I think if people have feedback, if we use that as a survey, we'll be hearing feedback and thoughts about that as well. But it is something that can make it more comfortable having people choose what they want to use. It also prevents, if there's guests coming in, if you have a gender, you can't get into those bathrooms. So it's been an ongoing conversation that we've had before that we're looking into and seeing what works. I'm not sure where that would end up on there, but it's definitely something we're looking into and seeing what options we have. I agree, we are unique in that sense, and trying to find that good balance of comfort for everyone out there, and seeing what options we have. As far as commuter students having access to the buildings, that has not been a conversation I've been aware of recently. I think it would definitely be a further conversation to see what we can do or not do for that. I think it'd be involving some safety and some of the folks as well. I think again, it's balancing the safety and security, making sure people are comfortable as you're living in the building, making sure you have access for that. I think there's other potential impacts that it could have. I was talking about, I was concerned about laundry and amount of machines and usage-wise. If we open up the buildings for everyone, we have free laundry on campus. That could potentially mean commuters coming in and using the laundry that's part of the kind of the rates out there as well, so that there could be unintended consequences as well. But I think it can also maybe build a community as well. So it's something we can look into. I'm not sure what that where that contribution go. Bathroom, I think, is a little more closer to me what we're looking at.
Are there any further? Lexi?
Yep, the housing cancellation. So if you pick housing and opt to become a commuter, the cancellation fee is $750 in order to back out if you're approved. Usually it needs to be a significant change, a significant hardship in order to be released from a housing agreement. It's not just if you just have an off-campus apartment, that's generally not enough to be released from the agreement. There needs to be more involved with that. Reason why that's there and the reason why we need to have a cancellation fee is not to try to penalize students out there. Is we report to the SGA our budget numbers. We use that to kind of do our funding for year to year. And usually the first week or two, we tell the state, here's what we have for students on campus, and we need to be able to. It's recuperating some of the money that we told them we're going to have. It's a really small fraction of it right now. So that's part of the process. There's a district process. You get approved this cancellation fee. If you move in and then decide to withdraw, let's say the first couple of weeks of the semester, it's a cancellation fee plus a prorated.
Any further questions? None? Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
One click for doing next week that I'm going to be advertising on Friday. We're doing a JTAC or humanity on Thursday of next week. It's going to be a diversity education kind of program, interactive. We talk about the mechanisms over scaling. So they'll probably see an email about that. So if you're around,
Thank you. Thank you, John. All right. Yeah, I just want to first give a shout out to Elizabeth and Mercer and Nora Faro for putting together Owl Ball. Went really smoothly, really successful, and I hope you all had a blast. Just a few quick updates from me. Some members of the executive board have been working on starting the process for additional common hours on campus. We are going to bring the proposal to you all next week before we submit it to governance. And governance can kind of be a long process, and it wouldn't even be able to be implemented until the spring of 2024. Yeah, because they already have classes set up for the fall. So it's a slow process, but we'll see where it takes us for that. And then just a reminder for you all, for your signature papers for elections, they're out. And also class presidents, please let your class councils know that don't come to the meetings, so they know to get their signature papers. Not the senior class, but all the other classes. Yeah. Another quick thing to put in your calendar is the SGA Senate banquet, which is on May 1st at 5:30. And then our last meeting is the day after on May 2nd. Obviously at 5:30. We do this every year, the SGA Senator Banquet, to celebrate with you all and give out awards to people that deserve it. And I believe we get something out of it every year. We've done it in the past, so yeah. And then if you didn't see the president's email regarding the provost search committee, please look at it. It gives an update on what's going on in academic life. I'm going to be reaching out for more information. But yeah, and then I kind of wanted to put a feeler out for last week's meeting. I was just curious how everyone felt the meeting went with Bill speaking on last Tuesday, and how you guys felt about it. That's all I got.
Any questions?
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out
Yeah.
I have to go to the Student Athletics Advisory Council to try to get an answer
Thank you.
Hey, Greg. Hi, Aaron. I really like Bill. I think something that's a lot of them go just like the politics and try to win around the answer. So I really think that there seems to be a lot of truth telling, not just a lot here. Actually, exactly what Chris,
I agree with Dan. I think a lot of stuff we asked from everyone was kind of dodged around a little bit. I think it was a productive meeting, but I know a lot of students still want to see a lot more from that thing going on.
Thank you.
definitely. Two trust keys, concerns, and we're having a meeting on tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes. And we're gonna try to work with the student athletes and Marley to figure out what they're doing so the services will understand the athletes want. And we can hopefully get that. Chloe Saxon.
So if you feel like your voice wasn't heard in class meeting, that is time that's available for everybody, in classes, go, make sure it's.
Ethan.
I love Bill coming up, showed a lot of being one of the most criticized places on campus. I would like to see more of it, other than just our food service reps. I know it's not everything, unfortunately. So I think that he's going to have to go directly to the every night.
Chloe Saxon.
Unrelated to food, talk a little bit about the competition.
Yes. Yeah. So we've had this conversation a few times. So at the moment, the common hour, we only have one, which is at 1:40 to 2:55 on Fridays. And that the goal of that is to ensure that governance committees can meet, so faculty and staff don't have meetings or class during that time. So they've kind of designated this one time of not having classes across campus to have governance committees. The reason we want more is basically along the lines of there's other committee meetings that need to happen on campus. And a lot of those are kind of a struggle for the majority of people to make sometimes. Like from the student perspective, it's a struggle to make, like being on a lot of committees to make all the committee meetings. And some of them just aren't working with student schedules. And then also from more of a programming perspective, kind of hoping that additional common hours would allow like a time block open for more programming on campus to kind of get everyone together. Including like professors and staff that we don't really see outside of the classroom. So having a time, we're kind of thinking a time on Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Monday, but somewhere earlier in the week, that midday, so it allows professors will still be on campus instead of a Friday, so people can get out and go home early if there's no governance meetings. So those are kind of like the things we've been thinking about. Obviously, it can be a pain in the butt to work through reschedule or refixing the blocks of class times, but it could be really beneficial. So that's what. And then regarding last week's meeting with Bill, I was going to set up a meeting with Bill and I just to talk to him about it, because I kind of had some concerns that you guys were mentioning, but also doing food services for 2 years. It was just not what I was used to with Bill. So yeah. That's all for that.
Any further? And thank you.
Thank you. Food Services Committee, Adam Carter.
Hello, food fanatics. First off, I want to apologize for not being able to make last week's meeting. Would have liked to be there as food service chair. I was dying in bed all week last week, for those of you who don't know. Food services met for the first time this semester at our new time. I honestly don't have too much to report about this, other than that I strongly recommend that you show up at the meeting now that we've changed the time to make it more accessible. I would love to see people there And I know it will make it easier for ideas to be tracked, and there'll be some degree of follow through on requests if more people are there rather than it just being me there, because I could just be making up concerns for all they'll notice. The one thing I have to report is that I'm open to options from the group, especially on late night and where you believe that it should be best moving forward into next year, whether that be right now or in passing when you see me, so that we can make an educated decision on where it would be best served next year. I'm also making an effort to reach out to non-SGA groups to see their thoughts as well, as I want this to represent the will of the school, not just that of SGA.
Any comments, questions, or concerns for Adam, Sarah, and Nathan?
The meetings are in the DC immediately after you come in. I will also say you get a free meal if you go to the meeting. You don't have to swipe in to go to a meeting, obviously. And it's literally like right at the doorways. It's at that big table, like the friendship table or whatever.
Dan Kirk.
Hi, Adam. First, I would recommend, I know that we mentioned this last week, but I recommend email and, really explain what both policies are and what they do. Who's in this, who's not in there. So think about that. And then I have talked to my constituents, and they said they like the stuff. They understand how that is, but really.
Okay, yeah, I definitely would consider survey. I will say that we have a history of sending out surveys with no replies. It's just a Westfield State tradition, I guess. But I'll bring up that prospect of doing that. And whenever I'm reaching out to groups, I'm explaining both options more and what they are. I'm trying to do a little negotiating to maybe add some appeal to one of the other options. But we'll see where that gets me.
Chris Land.
Hi, Adam. I'm all for it being in the bistro again. I love getting late night at the bistro. I would just say, maybe send out a survey, because I know there's a lot of people that especially freshmen that weren't here last year and didn't get to try DC late night. So I would say maybe just send out a survey, because I know I personally for DC late night, but I can also see keeping in the bistro as more of a cost effective.
Yeah. I think that it definitely will be important to make it very clear what each option will actually mean. Is, as Dan alluded to, it won't solve every problem that we have if it moves over there, but well, I'll try to get a survey together to send it out.
Any further? I have one thing. Yeah, I know Bill talking about bringing it back to DC. Like there was a lot of reasons we moved it back to bistro. It really made it seem like DC could fix some solutions that it causes other problems, like food not being out. But there were so many problems. DC late night. So I would just kind of not work against it, but know that that's what dining services is easier for them, but it might not be what the students want. So
Yeah,
just keep that in mind.
I'm really pushing for education being out there on both options. So I'm aware of there are definitely a lot of issues with DC late night as well. It won't be a fix-all to move it there.
Any further? Seeing none, thank you, madam.
That was great.
QSA report, Levi.
Hi, everyone. So QSA is hosting an event tomorrow, which is kind of short notice, I apologize. But we are looking for senators to volunteer at the event. It's a speak up event for translated visibility. I don't know if you know this or not, but there's 430 anti-LGBT bills in the nation right now. So the way the law works, we can't write bills in Tennessee because we don't live in Tennessee. But what you can do is send emails to your national and your state reps so that they support you in that if they're going against those bills, or if bills trying to get introduced in Massachusetts, that they shut them down. So the whole purpose of the event is that Students will be able to come in. The time frame is 4 to 8, so that there's room for people to stop by. And so they can come in. We have everything filled out. There's infographics, QR codes, links. There's draft of emails, and all you have to do is put your name in the blank spot and then hit send practically. So we just need senders to stand at the booths and answer questions, or to just say like, this is the QR code that you scan, and that's really it. There isn't really big expectations for the senders other than standing at a booth and helping out. So everything's pretty much done for them. We have everything set up. We just need people to stand at the booths and help out with it. We need at least one person at each booth. Actually, the way I have it set up is we have a sign-up sheet that I'm going to have after the meeting. Laura has it ready. And you guys can sign up for different time frames. We do need all the spots filled up. And I don't know. Or something.
I will make it an office.
Cool. Office hour, yay. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Are there any questions?
Are there any comments, questions, or concerns for Michaela Evans?
So it's going to be in here from 4 to 8 tomorrow.
Will we set this up? Yep. Any further? Ethan Haynes.
Somebody make comments. If you can't make it, still register. A lot of people are.
Yeah, so we are going to send out an information sheet afterwards for people, but we would rather people come in person first, and then more information will come out for people that can't attend. We kind of want to give them that option after people come in person. Actually, build community, write emails together. So.
Any further? Seeing none. Thank you, Eli. Finance Committee and Curtis.
Thank you. Everyone's favorite time. So. All right, perfect. So, good evening, everybody. The Finance Committee met yesterday to review 2 finance proposals, one submitted on behalf of QSA and one submitted on behalf of the Class Council of 2023. In accordance with the SGA Finance bylaws, the Finance Committee has rendered an advisory opinion on these finance proposals. The sole power to accept, deny, table, or amend lies with all of you. Tonight, you'll have the final say on these proposals. I will detail the finance proposals in full and will make a motion for each based on the Finance Committee's recommendation. I encourage you to ask questions and provide comments after each motion. First, we will discuss finance proposal S23003, which was submitted on behalf of QSA, which has a balance of $114.29 in their club account. QSA has requested $324.50 for refreshments slated to be served at the Drag Bingo event on Friday, March 31st, 2023, which is being co-sponsored by QSA, the Campus Activities Board, Class Council of 2026, Health Services, and the Title IX Office. Total cost of these refreshments is $649. According to the SGA Finance bylaws, QSA is requesting that SGA cover 50% of these costs. Upon discussion, the Finance Committee believed the amount requested was reasonable and that QSA should be allocated the full amount requested. By a vote of 3 in favor and 1 abstention, the Finance Committee endorsed the proposal. Therefore, I move to approve Finance Proposal S23003 and to allocate $324.50 to QSA.
It has been moved to allocate Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next, we will discuss finance proposal S23004, which was submitted on behalf of the Class Council of 2023, which has a balance of $2,000 in their club account. The Class Council of 2023 initially submitted a proposal for $2,333.20, as you can see there, to offset costs associated with their senior week, which is slated to be held between May 16th and May 19th. The proposal included the following line items: $1,833.20 for bus transportation at 50% in accordance with the finance bylaws to a yard goats game and a brewery visit.
and $500 for live music at the brewery. Upon the request of representatives from the Class Council of 2023, the Finance Committee removed the $500 allocation for live music. Thanks to the generous support of other offices, clubs, and the Westfield State Foundation, the Class Council of 2023 has been able to acquire funding for live music at the brewery. Upon discussion, the Finance Committee believes that covering 50% of transportation costs is reasonable, and we are happy to see shared financing across multiple sectors. Therefore, I move to approve Finance Proposal S23004 as amended, and to allocate $1,833.20 to the Class Council of 2023.
It's been moved and seconded to allocate $1,833 to Class Council 2023 for Yargos and are there any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
The next meeting of the Finance Committee will be this Monday, April 3rd, 2023 at 3:30 p.m. in Helio 20. So should we have any questions, please let me know.
Are there any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, thank you. Foundation report.
All right, good evening, everybody. Good evening, everyone. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of those who contributed and or spread the word regarding Give a Hoot Day this past week. Thanks to your efforts, we have raised $67,776 from 431 donors, exceeding our goal of 350 donors. Please know that this amount is likely to increase as Institutional Advancement receives mailed checks over the course of the week. The funds raised were designated as follows. So to show you how much was ended up being raised for various projects. That's all the classes. These are the designations. So for athletics, we raised $21,509. The Westfield Fund, which is unrestricted, at $21,220. Student scholarships at $10,818. Investment and Data Analytics Lab at $7,020. The class of 1969, their scholarship fund for $4,195. The Student Emergency Fund at $2,748. Academic departments at $1,340. And the class of 2023 senior gift of $236. Though this amount, there's another section for the class of 2023, so they have even more money than that. We'll just go. So on Tuesday, April 4th, I will be attending a meeting of the fundraising committee of the Westfield State Foundation Board of Directors to discuss the successes and areas of improvement from this Give a Hoot Day. Overall, however, I'm very pleased to see another year with successful fundraising numbers, and I hope that we can continue that success for many years to come. Although the Investment and Data Analytics Lab did not see the fundraising numbers we were hoping for initially, further dollars should be coming in from financial institutions, so we put in requests through other banks and financial institutions. So you should be seeing more money from that. I'll also encourage the new director of corporate and foundation grants and institutional advancement and Associate Dean Morris to look at various grants as well in order to increase that money. So should you have any questions, please let me know.
Are there any comments, questions, or concerns for Dan? Seeing none, thank you, Dan. Dear class, report, Michaela Evans.
Hi everyone. I wanted to come up here and report some of the things that we have been working on as a class council. I'm happy to say that we have reached 30% of our fundraising goal for our class gift of murals. Seniors, if you're interested in donating, you can go on to the link in your emails or in our bio on Instagram. We've also finalized a senior week schedule, and we're really excited. The activities will start on Tuesday, May 16th, and will go until May 19th, which is the day of graduation. You'll move on that day. They'll live on campus during senior week in University Hall, or if you're a commuter, you can live off campus as well. The events of the week will include a trip to the Yargoats game in Connecticut, tailgating on the green with a barbecue, glow party, and bingo, a spa day, and professional graduation photos, as well as a trip to Treehouse Brewery. The link to the tickets can be found in seniors' emails, as well as in our Instagram bio. Lastly, I wanted to let all graduating seniors know that cap and gowns are for sale in the bookstore, as well as the website, and check your emails from the registrar's office regarding commencement ceremonies RSVP.
Are there any comments, questions, or concerns for Michaela? Seeing none, thank you, Michaela.
there any new business? Seeing none, announcements. Elizabeth first. Joseph and
Hi, everyone. Friday, last couple of weeks, at Medion and Scan, hosting a video of that. There's going to be everything from mocktails to specialty chocolates and cupcakes, prizes that include sex toys and great things. So I hope that I can see all of you guys. It's like it's going to be really fun. And it is really relevant considering we have what's advanced LGBTQ bills done in the past. There's 13 states trying and succeeding in passing drug bills. When I was going on in Florida, recently there was a university, I think it's Texas State University, that had similar actually university's president. So it's like solidarity with all these people undermine minorities. Please do come and enjoy themselves. Thank you.
Adam Carpenter.
Signature papers are available. If you wish to keep your position, you need to have a rerunning time. You know what I was saying?
Chloe Sabatton. Dan Courier.
I will be out of office on Thursday and Friday, so please text me. My out of office will be on. Also, on Thursday, focusing on master science and further your education.
We're gonna have to have a conversation. Michaela Evans. Laura Caparo. Michaela Evans again. Roll call.
Michaela Evans, Pete Levin, Levi Ekstrom, Pete Lanigan, Nicholas Smith, Timothy Allen, Isabel Potato, Haley King, Galen Westcott, Maggie Roberts, Constantine Stopoulos, Christopher Lannon, Eric Hardy, Ethan Haynes, Bo Black, Alexandria Melius, Daniel Lyons, Lucas Appel, Scott Dunn, Nick Colombo, Sarah Harrington, Joseph Chania, Angela Hayes, Justin Wall, Jack Wood.
If there's no additional business, I adjourn the meeting till April 4th.
Yeah.